many things that could go wrong, but for now, yeah, it's working beautifully. Much stronger MG set than the original. Anyhow, I am running in tune position, driving the amp to 100 watts carrier. I take it back, 70 watts carrier. I'm really babying this thing along, but I could go to operate without the amp, and that's still 35 watts carrier. That's all you get for 700 pounds of radio. All right, storm conditions here. Yeah, we had a light dusting of snow. That's about it, and I think nothing big starts until tomorrow. Okay, with that, back down to Dayton, K0DWC, and use success.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit of a problem there, but all right. I don't know what happened there. I turned on the amp with the switch there, and it starts tick. I'll check that out. Anyway, good morning to all. And Ron, that thing sounds fantastic. Great job. That's all I can tell you. It's just a great job getting that done. Sounds great. So far, everybody sounds great. Haven't had any problem with anybody. I even heard Bill check in, and he checked in clearly. There wasn't any fuzziness or nothing. So hopefully that'll stay like that. But anyway, we're on the TCS 13 set this morning, and running the T17 mic with the electret module. About 120 watts, and inverted V. A minimum must be 200 amps on this deal. So anyway, Dave, I'm hearing that noise too here in Dayton. It sounds like a little motorcycle. It was worse earlier, but it's slowly, at least here, it seems like it's starting to wane a little bit. But I'm hearing what you're hearing down here in Dayton, so I guess it's a little bit all over the place. So anyway, we'll keep it going. We'll send it over to Mike. Mike, are you hearing the motorcycle? W7MS, K0DWC. Go ahead.
Well, yes, sir. K0DWC, W7MS, of course, Mike and Reno. Good morning to all. Good morning, Henry, Steve, Dave, Ron, you, Chuck. I heard Richard, and also Bill out there. And we'll save the signal report on Bill for his official transmission. Hopefully, we'll hear him as well as you are, Chuck. So, this morning running, obviously, a carbon microphone, the RS-38 carbon mic, but running the RCA aircraft transmitter receiver, the AVT-112A transmitter, the AVR-20A receiver, LS7 loudspeaker for audio. We don't want to have to be forced to wear cans this time in the morning. And, of course, this stuff was late 30s commercial from the RCA in Camden, New Jersey, and then officially drafted into the U.S. Army Air Corps, U.S. Army Air Forces for use in light aircraft, such as the Stinson and Beach variety there. So that's the setup here. And, of course, it's driving the Alpha 87 AC amplifier to about 350 watts carrier, antenna as usual, coax fed dipole. And a side note, since I'm running on a vibrator power supply, at least I don't have to have it in a separate room. It's just giving me that warm little fuzzy mechanical vibrator sound. So at least I know I'm counting down on the vibrator time here to see when it finally gives up the ghost. Hopefully not during my intermittent usage here. But great on everybody. Questions out there and Clatterdad activity. You've seen some of the exchanges there on the web. and Ron's TDE/OCD, but it's doing quite well. Great to hear it officially on the air and with some sound reduction there. But Ron, I swear if I open a window here, I think I hear it. I may hear it direct, so to speak, but we'll have to see. Great on Chuck. Well, everybody's doing well, and everybody's got power, and life is good. And let me see here. Yeah, I hear the propagation sounder on occasion. That hasn't gone away. I'm still hearing that, but I also hear that repetitive noise, which kind of reminds me of over-the-horizon radar. So we'll have to see what other comments might be made. But let me see. I guess that's good for round one. Oh, antenna issue. Yes, the reflector on my Cushcraft A3S is canted about 15 degrees now. The snow was, unfortunately, the snow and rime ice left on one side of the reflector before the other side. And it was so heartily frozen that sometimes you could do the shake and break with the antenna rotor and get the stuff off the antenna, but it was hopeless. So you just kind of crossed your fingers, but considering the way it looked the morning after the big storm, it's amazing that it's still functional. So it's not. It has the appearance of amateur night from the ground, but I'm sure from a functionality standpoint, it's probably working just fine. But it's now truly embarrassing that it's not all in alignment. But then again, it beats a reflector that's maybe vertically polarized. That would be a total drag. But with that, over to Richard. Good morning, Richard. W6AWO, W7MS.
Well, good morning, Mike, and good morning, everyone. W7MS, W6AWO, higher top Inverness Ridge. Using something new today, the the 51J4 is in service, and that's just come out from Howard Mills, and it gives me a slight bit of military connection because it does have an orange military acceptance stamp on the front panel, so I elected to not have Howard redo the front panel. I retained that part of it. But the transmitter remains the same prosaic, not to say dull and boring, Johnson Viking 2, coaxially fed dipole. And of course, the other military connection I had, the BC 1031 Charlie, is no longer workable on the 51J4. So I'm not even sure if there is a viable pan adapter for 500 kCI. I haven't found one yet. Yes, I hear not the brap there a little bit, the ionospheric sounder, but also the broadband noise. I hear it both locally and on KTH SDR, which is backup. It was an epic time at the KTH transit and receive site. Released this album with loss of power and loss of the SDR receivers. We had a significant casualty at the transmitter site. There was a small mustard there yesterday, and every vehicle except one got stuck, and we're talking four-wheel drive, including a park ranger vehicle that is out there to evaluate the situation, 100-foot pole on the ground. And during the storms here, I can expand on that a bit on the next go-around if we wish. The storms here are on generator power quite a bit. The new generator has been nice and reliable. And I did get to talk to our mutual friend, Mr. Tom, OPE. And I guess as everyone knows, his antenna is down on Howard. He had two halyards going up to the top of his mast. The second one finally broke. So he's standing around looking up at the top and scratching his ears and figuring out what to do next. For me, what to do next is to hand it over to Bill. November 6th, Bravo, Charlie, Tango, this is W6AWO.
M6BCT. Bill, Bill, go ahead and make a transmission. Turn it back to me. WA7YBS, go ahead.
Okay, WA7YBS in 6 travel, in the friends in his house, had to turn off the power to the computer, and then I could hear everybody. Anyway, so that's the story there. We just got on town and stored after 2 weeks with no power at the house here. So we had to have everything on a generator. And right now, we're waiting for
Okay, Bill turned it over.
Then basically, WA7YBS and Bravo Charlie Tango.
Okay, Bill. Yeah, you were Q5 despite the QRN, QRM, and everything else. It's putting in a good signal here. Yeah, too bad about the power, but you have a generator, so there you go. And that's good. And so anyway, let's run down the list here. And let me see if there's anybody first before I do that. Let's see if there's anybody else that wants to check in. Vintage Military Radio Net round 1. Number 8's open if you want to check in. Do it now. Okay. Yeah, that noise sounds like a British motorcycle, like a Bro Superior or something like that running down the highway. Maybe a Norton, a snorting Norton. But yeah, it's pretty loud here, pretty intense. But everybody's signal pretty much covers it up, so that's good. And like everybody else, I'm hearing the zit, 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 propagation check. I thought that was supposed to shut down in December, but, well, it's still here. So they must have got another grant. So there you go. Okay, Steve, W6SSP. Yeah, good on the Model 15 and the ST6000. Yeah, ST6000's cool. I like the CRT display, little kind of ovaloid type of display when you get everything tuned right, and very nice TU for teletype. And on the HROs, if it's got the nickel-plated dial, it's German silver. The German silver is just like a heavy-duty nickel plate. If it has that, it's I think you said it was Run H, which is that's the last of the German silver PWD dials. That was the last one that used them. They were painted black after that, or something like black. And yeah, those at that time period, the tubes used were the 2.5 volt filament tubes, 6D6s, 6C6s, stuff like that. So they are pretty different than the HRO5, which used octal tubes. The HRO5 came around in 1945, so it was at the end of World War II. HRO5 and HROW. So Run H is going to be 1935, and it's a pretty early one. Too bad it's all hamstered up, but there you go. What can I say? The Pulse QRN it sounds just like a motorcycle going down the road. And okay, Ron, on the TDE, yeah, it sounds really good. I can't hear the vacuum cleaner running at all. And let's see, Chuck, yeah, you had a little bit of I could hear it on this side. It almost sounded like arcing, but not quite. It more sounded like microphone intermittency. Didn't last too long, though. Once you started talking, it pretty much went away. And good mic on the RCA aircraft gear. It sounds good. Richard on the 100-foot pole on the ground at KPH. That doesn't sound good. And mutual friend of ours, Tom Hoya, their W3TA, said that I should ask you about the Beckman-Berkeley frequency meters that are at KPH. use a 51J4 as the core, and then have several Beckman pieces there for accurate frequency measurement. Anyway, I have lots of pictures of the Beckman versions of the 51J4. So interesting application. And let's see. I already covered Bill. Doing good. Let's see if there's anybody else who wants to get in here. Number 8 is open, Vintage Military Radio Net. You can get in on the very end of round 1, just before we go to round 2. If you want to check in, do it now. Wow, that QRN sounds like a machine gun now. Okay, round 2, up to Steve, W6SSP, WA7, YBS.
Okay, thank you very much, Henry. And, I'm just starting to hear a hint of the British motorcycle noise. Great description. As opposed to the old-fashioned woodpecker. And thank you very much for the info on the early HRO. I keep going back and forth on that thing. I don't like getting things that have extra holes in the front panel, and this one does. So we'll see. And wife has suggested very strongly I don't buy it. And the annoying part of that is not that she's bugging me about it, but that she's absolutely right. Always annoying. Anyway, hey Ron, 35 watts out of a 700-pound transmitter. I love it. A rating I've always kind of liked placing on things is watts per pound. And they can be a little bit deceiving, but one big transmitter I have here is 200 milliwatts per pound. That's the Raytheon broadcast transmitter. 1,250 pounds, 250 watts. Kind of funny. Now, Richard, on your 1031 pan adapter, I think I've told you in the past, those are fairly easy to move the IF frequency. It's not that big of a deal at all. The biggest deal is tuning it up afterwards, and even that's not too hard if you got the right equipment. So, and talking about weather and stuff like that. And Richard, by the way, I'd like to hear more details about the antenna field and how that fared at KTH. But concerning the weather, a lot of redwood trees have been coming down in this area, which I don't recall in the 35 years I've lived in this house. I've never heard of that before. I always thought redwood trees were pretty stable and had a good root system, but apparently that is not the case. That's a little bit frightening here because I've got 5 large redwood trees either on my property or right next to it. So kind of nervous when the winds come up and see how that goes. It looks like we're due for a break, and hopefully we're due for a really good break to let things dry out a little bit. Okay, over to Dave. W6MQI, W6SSP.
W6SSP, W6MQI. All righty, Steve. Yeah, I've got a 40-foot tall Chinese elm right next to my shack here. In fact, it's leaning to the southwest. It's been like that since I moved in about 20-some years ago. But there is a big branch that goes right over the top of my shack here, and I worry about it. And then I got a valley oak over in the southwest corner, and it's leaning towards the street. Luckily, it's leaning away from my shack. I wanted to cut it down last summer. Had a tree guy come by. He goes, can't cut it down. If they go up 4 feet from the base and measure around, if it's more than 24 inches, you got to get a permit. And the city says it's now a heritage oak, so I can't touch it. Well, it may get touched. I'll wait for one of these storms and I'll chop it down. But you didn't hear that. But, too many trees around here. Too many trees to worry about. But I think I've cleaned the gutters about 5 times since these storms have started. Just constant cleaning. Let's see. Yep, the woodpecker noise. It sounds like we used to have a guy that used to fly a World War I Jenny around the valley here. He had a private airstrip not too far south of me, and kind of sounds like that to me, like a World War I biplane fighter. That's what it sounds like to me. And Steve, yeah, good on the young ham that wants to get on R2TY. That would be cool if he could come up on the clatter net. It's pretty lean right now if he checks in, but that'd be nice. And let's see. Oh, I got the wrong guy here. Mike, yeah, your antenna. Sucks. Now you gotta get that thing down to get it lined back up. I don't have that problem with my log periodic because everything splits right at the center. There's no U-bolts or anything there, so I don't have that problem. But my problem is getting it down. I was supposed to take it down towards the end of the summer, and things got busy, and the other guy that was going to help me got busy, and now the rains have started, and blah, blah, blah. It's still not down. I keep talking about that. Been talking about that for a year or so now, and it's still not off the tower. So hopefully here soon in the springtime we can get it down. I don't like climbing towers anymore, especially my tower. It's a fairly small tower. It's really uncomfortable to stand on. And Richard, Howard Mills, I thought he stopped restoring radios. That was interesting when you mentioned his name. I bet you got a nice radio now, all polished on the inside. That sounds really nice. Howard Mills does really good work. Let's see, what else we got here? Projects. I'm still working on getting my SCR 274N up online. It's about 90% done. Got a few other things to do to get it up and running. Maybe next week, maybe. We'll see. And working on putting a CW side tone on my TCK7. An external side tone. It's not built into the transmitter or anything. I didn't want to have to get in there and mess with the transmitter, but so that would be nice having a CW side tone. I could listen on the receiver, listen to my transmission that way, but it hammers the receiver so hard, it's all distorted, and it just doesn't sound good at all. It's not pleasant to listen to, so I decided to build this side tone for it. A little more pleasant. Ron, I'm curious, does that TDE have a CW side tone, or are you listening on your local receiver to your CW note? Curious about that. Other than that, not much else going on here. Just trying to stay afloat. And yeah, I think we are supposed to get a dry spell next week, so that'll be nice. Help dry things out. But with that dry spell, I'm sure the fire will start kicking in. And dense fog out in the valley. Luckily, I don't have to commute in that stuff. So over to Ron, NU6F, WS6MQI.
Okay, good deal. W6MQI and the group, NU6F. Yeah, still good copy. A lot of QSB, and there's no automatic volume control to speak of on this, so on the RAL. So I'm riding the volume control all the time with you guys, but plenty of signal to work with either way. And yeah, Dave, on the side tone. Yeah, since the TD, probably like TCK, doesn't have direct readout, so I use the LM221 here, and I've got a little amplified speaker. And it works great for side tone monitoring. I already have it in here. I think that's the way this was set up. I haven't used the jack in this. There's that one jack for the frequency meter audio output, and I'm guessing that's probably what they used also. It's got a port for hooking up the LM221. But anyhow, so yeah, I'm tickled to have it working. I know that it's subject to change all of a sudden without warning, and that just goes with the territory. And I still am always impressed on the AM mode, and that's what's being suppressor grid modulated, but it didn't need much audio, and the carbon mic seems to work just fine on it. And I sound just like Mike on his carbon mic. And well, yeah, and too bad about Tom still not getting getting that antenna back up in the air after the storm damage there. And Mike, your antenna with the one bent element, the Chris-Craft. What if you could bend the other element on or the other half element on this side to make it look like you actually did it on purpose? It wouldn't look so bad then. Falling trees, like for Steve there with the redwoods, and Dave with the trees around the house. Yeah, I had just that one flowering cherry tree in the backyard that the snow load broke off, about a fourth of that. And we had one good day to cut that all up and haul it off to the dump. So that much was done. And Richard, too bad out there at KPH. Yeah, like everyone noticed, the SDR's down, and was hoping it was just power and not physical infrastructure outside. And Mike on the vibrator. Yeah, it's like that thing is vibrating, and when it wants to stop, that's it. You just you go along with the age. And Bill, I copied really, really well, even with the RAL, but he did QSB one time, and I thought he handed it over. But no, excellent conditions. And I really, what with all the other noises going here, I'm really not noticing the woodpecker and the QRN. All right, with that, I will pass it down to Chuck Dayton. All right, K0DWC, and your success.
Okay, Ron. Very good. Well, congratulations on that setup, man. I'm sure we're all proud of you, for sure. I heard that motor generator in there a little earlier when you were making a transmission. It sounded kind of cool, so you sound good and strong, too. I don't know, it seems like that the first time you had that motor generator working when you first got it, you were coming in 2.5, no problem, but it's compared to what you sound like now, I think the original sounded maybe a little bit anemic, but you're sounding really good and you're sounding strong with that thing. So whatever you did a good job on it. So, all righty. Well, so far, haven't had any problems hearing anybody. Without the little bit of interference, I can hear Bill. I can understand Bill. But adjacent frequency activity and atmospherics and stuff. So, what are you going to do? But anyway, Dave, I was able to check into the upper sideband military net Wednesday night. They only had it on for about 10 minutes, but I was able to at least get through and get my call sign acknowledged that they were hearing me. Some of them didn't, some of them did. But I think the problem I've got on my end is the batteries that I've got in this thing. It's in man-count form right now, and that's what I've been using. And I think the batteries are probably down a little bit. I'm thinking about, I've got the AC power supply for this set, and I'm thinking about setting that back up and trying that and switching the antenna. Just for the ease of use, I've been using that Hustler vertical, and I know I'm going over some guys big time, but the net control fella, he's about 3 miles away from me as a crow flies, Jim Beeler. And and you can pretty much hear me on ground waves. So we're still working on that. I can make it better on my end for sure. I've heard Rex check in, KE7MFW. He checks in on the upper sideband net as well. So, Dave, if you get a chance, try to check in. There's about, 4 or 5 guys that check in on it, but it's still fun. Just to, use this equipment. It's, this little PRC-74, I basically bought this many years ago just to kick around kind of like a QRP station. It's 15 watts PEP, so I'm probably getting 6 or 7 watts out. But believe it or not, under really good conditions, I have reached Southern California on that thing, on about 7 watts. So, it really wasn't anything I did. It was just luck, is all it was. But I talked to some people down there on this thing, and that was really kicking the pants. I really enjoyed that. It was kind of fun. So anyway, I'm going to try and check in again this next coming Wednesday and see what happens. I don't know if I have the AC power supply up and running, but maybe if anything, I can at least charge the battery in the PRC-74. So anyway, Mark, we're running a very interesting station this morning. 350 watts on an amp, AVT and AVR. I've heard you run that before, but man, that's some neat stuff there, man. It sure is. You don't hear or see that stuff every day. All right. Well, I'm going to send it over to Mike with that wonderful AVT 112A and the AVR 20A. W7MS K0 DWC. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, thanks, Chuck. I turned red, but we're not on amateur television, color version, so. But thanks for the flowers. W7NS here. Well, good signals from all. Heard Bill with a little bit of competition, but of course the receiver here I have is bar door, wide IF, single IF stage, so it's working well this morning. I had a plan B just in case, because one never knows about challenges, but plan B did not have to be instituted. So Richard, sorry to hear about the storm damage. Congratulations on the W3A chem device. That's fantastic. Congratulations, and of course, good morning to Bill. Yeah, Steve, I was chuckling a little bit about your spouse's better decision-making ability, but she's not emotionally involved with the potential purchase of the National. But it's certainly it's a real downer to see hamster activity that can't be at least hidden internally. And I'll get around to that on my project. I think I mentioned it once or twice over the past few weeks. Yeah, Dave, you've been talking about getting that beam down for quite some time now, but I understand it's a two-man job, or two-person job, excuse me, and everything's got to be aligned correctly. All the other permutations, so you will arrive. And you did comment on, of course, KPTH and KFS being down. And at first I had this little head scratch, and I was wondering why the homepage was missing for these stations. But I guess obviously the server farm is, so to speak, is located on site. So that would explain whether it's physical damage or a power issue, why you can't even ping the homepage for KFS. But it's been down for some time. I hope Greg's okay, because he certainly has challenges medically. I hope everything's the future is bright for all the future of these two SDR stations. And Ron, well, thank you for the comments. You're very good, and always a pleasure to hear it. And again, congratulations on the TDE. And I think you have nothing to worry about. It is going to outlast all of us now. It's on its way. It sure was beautiful in the video there on YouTube. Really enjoyed that. It was a star. You know, it's a movie star. You've got to take care of the Hollywood radios. It looked really, really great in the YouTube video. And Chuck's comments on the upper sideband net, the PRC-74. You had that on demo at Brad's swap meet. And I've checked it a few times on the USB guys. It's been a couple of years, but that was in the era of Chuck McClurg, and said hello and goodbye, and maybe we'll stop by again sometime in the near future. Maybe if we could gang up on your neighbor up the road there and say hello. Take it over as the Nevada upper sideband net. And my comments is that the RCAF AR6 receiver that was manufactured by RCA Company Limited up in Canada, and it's heavily hamstered internally, but the front panel and the cabinet's intact except for the back, which of course isn't that annoying, but that was the decision to make the purchase, was the fact that I could do a receiver restoration to some degree, have it work, but it from an outward appearance, from a Hollywood standpoint, it will look totally official and everything will be fine. No new holes, just a lot of hamster. It kind of reminded me of what I did to command sets when I was 15 years old. There's no logic. I would fire that individual for his soldering techniques, everything else. He just couldn't play it forward in his butchering of the radio, but we'll just assume, never speak ill of the dead, since I'm sure that individual is no longer on the planet, but because that retro butcher conversion job was done a long, long time ago. When you see a twisted pair line cord connected to the back of the radio, you know that, that's post-war immediate on that chop job. But with that, over to you, Richard. W6AWO, W7MS.
Well, thank you, Mike. W7MS, W6AWO, and the esteemed group. The ST6000, and the model, what was it? I guess I know that teleprinter, Steve, that's going to be picked up, model 15, I believe. And, of course, with your help, the ST6000 at the KPH receive site is what we use to monitor the teletype on the transmit site. Excuse me. Driving a Model 28 ASR. Anything with an oscilloscope thermal test is great, as far as I'm concerned, as you probably have detected through my desire to have a pan adapter. And Henry, I think I copied the call sign of the guy who's interested in Beckman Berkeley setup as Whiskey 3 Tango Alpha. And I believe you have a picture of our setup, the KPH setup, which is at the transmit site, to measure the point-to-point transmitter frequencies on your website. And if you can put me in touch with the person who's interested, I'll do my best to provide what information we have. I'm not sure that we have a manual for that system, but we can certainly search for it. We've gathered up all the manuals and filed them, so it should be easy to find if we have it. And if you can put us in touch, it's richard.dillman@gmail.com. Be happy to help best we can. And also on your website for the 51J4, Henry, you mentioned compared to the R388, the 51J3, and I enjoyed your information about the differences, the subtle differences. But you do mention that the 51J4 audio is less than super duper on AM. I certainly can confirm that today. Receiver's working great. 630 mechanical filter is in there, but I have to say, the HRO60 is not pleasing to the ear, so we might go back to that by next weekend. And, Harold Morris, he is definitely still doing restorations, obviously. When I contacted him, he said, that rumor that he was stopping doing restorations was the greatest thing ever for his business, because all of us are clamoring at his door, some of us anyway, to get the benefit of his services. So he's still doing it. And the SDRs are back up at KTH, and it was a bit of a slog because, you know, you can sometimes reset them if you can get to them, but if you can't get to them, you can't reset them, and we were having troubles getting people out there to do a mechanical reset. But this morning I checked, and they are up and working, so at least until the next power outage anyway. So feel free to those who want to listen. And yeah, Steve, wifely advice always should be attended to. Catherine is pretty tolerant, but I do like the fact that she came up with the term for the things that I like to buy, which is boxes with knobs. And you just can't argue with that description. Speaking of that, we're going to head over to the mother-in-law's today, so I got to make this my 73 transmission, as I got to get up and get ready on the chauffeur, and we got to head over there and get a little breakfast while I'm at it if I can. It's been wonderful, except for that either a JN4 or a Snorton Norton that's on the frequency. Hopefully that will go away by next week. So 73 to all, and over to my good friend Bill. November 6, Bravo, Charlie, Tango, W6AWL.
That's what I was going on generator actually. So the week before I was story. Anyway, let me say the AWO.
Okay, Bill. N6BCG WA7YBS. Yeah, pretty good copy on you, Bill. And, yeah, generators to run refrigerators. Yeah, we were out 11 and a half hours it was last week, I guess, or last Sunday, I don't know, whatever it was. But Chuck was out. He was out a lot longer. He 2.5 days. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, Richard on that. Tom, that is W3TA, referenced you to me. I was the one that wanted the information on the frequency monitor, the Beckman Berkeley frequency monitor. But Tom came up with some information. I have the manuals for the Beckman Berkeley, so I know what it does. And the photograph. The photograph came from a guy named Bear. I guess that's his name anyway. He's a WB2 something. Anyway, he sent me a bunch of pictures of light gray paneled 51J4s. And that Beckman there at KPH was amongst the photographs. So anyway, let's see. Mike on the element kind of sort of not twisted, but kind of off a kilter, shall we say. I'm sure you probably have been by it, and you probably noticed it, but the National Guard in Carson City, when they moved from over on the old 395 over to where they are now on Fairview, they had a log periodic antenna on a on a trailer, I guess you'd call it, and it masterizes up. Anyway, the minute that they put that up, and this is for Dave too, on the log periodics, how the elements attach, and that thing actually, the mast, triangular shaped girder type mast, twisted, and so that antenna has been a kilter there at the National Guard for 10 years at least, and so doesn't bother them, not one bit. So anyway, let's go ahead and do the 73 round, everybody. Oh, let me plug the website. I just uploaded yesterday on the 51J series, the Collins R388, and all of the 51J receivers. I expanded that article 100%. It's double the size that it was. I added 18 new photographs. So it's nothing like it used to be. Well, kind of a little bit, but I mean, it's quite expanded with lots of interesting information, like the gloss black panel 51J4. I never heard of that one until found it on Navy radio. And so there's a lot of interesting variations, and of course the Beckman Berkeleys are on there too. So anyway, website radioboulevard.com. Just go to R388/51J series, and it's a whole new experience. Let's do the 73 round. Richard has already signed, and 73 to Richard, but everybody else is still here. So, Steve, up to you. W6SSP, WA7YBS.
Okay, thank you very much, Henry. And, yeah, conditions are fading a little bit. Really good earlier, but a lot of QSB coming in, as it usually does this time of the morning. Very good on your website, Henry. Yeah, I will definitely check that out. So much information there, not only old information, but new information, like you just mentioned. So that's it around lunchtime. And anyway, pretty cool. Wanted to comment, Mike, on your RCA setup, the AVR and the AVT. I think I got that right. Very cool. Sounds wonderful. In fact, everybody sounds really good today. And I think an alternate name for this net should be the Museum Radio Network. Oh, wide variety of stuff. It was just super, super interesting from Ron's motor generator set to the RCA stuff to everything else. Just super, super cool. Anyway, not much more from me today. I'll see you all next weekend. Over to Dave, W6MQI, W6SSP.
Hi, Steve, W6SSP, W6MQI. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, Chuck, I was going to check in last Wednesday and totally forgot about it. Got busy doing something, but I will try again to check into that sideband now with the GRC 106. One of the things with the GRC 106, it only does it on 80 meters, is I don't know if it's the AC to DC converters, DC to AC converters in there. But on 80 meters, man, when that amplifier comes on, there's so much noise on 80 meters. Doesn't do it on the other bands. But if you ever done any TIG welding with a high frequency unit, that's what it sounds like. Really high frequency buzz that comes online. And at times, if the signals aren't strong, it just covers everybody up. So that's kind of a bummer. So we'll see. We'll try again if I can remember, get off my butt. I'll try next Wednesday to check in. And Henry, maybe I don't know. Weren't you going to do an extensive write-up on the RALs on your website, or do you already do that? you mentioned about the 51J4 and all that sort of stuff, how you updated that. But were you going to do one for the RAL receivers as well? Maybe I'm thinking something different. But other than that, nothing else here. Guess we'll talk to you guys next week. So over to Ron. His beautiful sounding TDE W6MQI.
Okay, good deal, Dave. And yeah, speaking of RALs, that's what we're listening to you guys on. You know, I haven't used this thing on AM hardly at all. And even, well, of course, Steve being a regen buff, why, he probably knows all the quirks of it, but yeah, it doesn't really do a bad job at all. I could, on Bill's signal, which was kind of weak, and some QRM, I was able to run the regen control up and still and pick him up out of the noise some, because as opposed to when Mike was talking about the woes of having a wide IF on the AVR, I thought of the old Indian legend about having no shoes and having no feet. And here, your poor neighbor over in Lemon Valley doesn't even have an IF, let alone a wide IF. But yeah, you're right, Steve. It should be the... we have vintage operators and museum operators, so yeah, maybe that should be the case. And yeah, Henry, I did. I'm looking at the website, and I see that on the phone, and so I see I'm scrolling page after page after page, new pictures and descriptions and whatnot. And we already see, going down the line, Steve, okay, on the 1,250 pounds for 250 watts. You're right. Yeah, this thing is very very efficient. Yeah, only 2 pounds per watt. And yeah, Dave, like Henry was saying about that log periodic, so heck, yeah, if they could put up with theirs tweaked for 10 years for the National Guard, yeah, you can put up with that. Not a big deal. And Chuck, on the upper sideband net, I think you guys said that was on Wednesdays, and yeah, Wednesday evenings I'm tied up, but I do want to use the PRC 47 on upper sideband. I decided I'm not probably going to change filter. I'm just going to leave it stock. It works okay for CW as it is, and that's about all I use it for. And Richard's already signed. Anyhow, 73s, guys, thanks a bunch, and sure missed not having Tom to add to the net this morning, but I'm sure he's listening. Okay, 73s, I'll be listening out. K0DWC and U6F.
All righty. Well, a little quick here, a little quick there. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure probably Tom is listening. Tom, WA6OP, if you're out there, we're thinking about you, and hopefully you can get back on the net real soon. It's different without you, so we need to get you back there. So best of luck trying to get an antenna back up and everything. So anyway, yeah, that upper sideband net, it's kind of a nice little net, but I mean it doesn't last very long. It's like I said, 3 or 4 guys, and you know, it gives me a chance to use some equipment that I don't normally use, and you know, sometimes I forget too. So you know, don't feel bad, Dave. Yeah. All righty. Well, I guess that's it for me. So So I guess I'll say my 7-3 to you gentlemen, and you guys have a good day today and a good safe week tomorrow, this coming week, and I'll be your net control next week. So take care, fellas, and I'll let you down the line. So with that, we will send it over to Mr. Mike, W7MS, K0, DWC. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, well, thank you, Chuck. K0 DWC and the Sunday morning military net, W7MS. Well, still good reception from all, but the usual indications of declining signal and noise ratio, but no buzz and no motorcycle noise. That's all gone away also. So you gain some and you lose some. Kind of like Ron and his lack of IF. Guess that's the equivalent to like the lithium crystals in Star Trek episodes. I need more IF. But when you don't have it to start with, just crank the regeneration there and tune about. But great comments. And let me see, run through the list. Great on the J4 expansion on the website. Henry, your total obvious promotion, but that's okay. Didn't fall asleep, and that's great. Great comments on the log periodic. I have noticed that it doesn't look the same as it did on 395. I have taken note of that, and it's also basically when it's U.S. government property, so it doesn't belong to anybody. So probably some interesting stories on that damage, that log periodic. Or it's something that's never discussed there at the guard unit, but I have noticed. And also on the power to weight ratio, but it's all relative because this transmitter here, the AVT112 Alpha, weighs 6.3 pounds. And of course it has an advantage because the power supply is separate, but it produces 8 watts a carrier. So if you're looking at watts per pound, it's still challenged. But it only weighs 6.3 pounds. So it's all relative. It's smaller than a breadbasket. Smaller than a shoebox, but that power to weight ratio, it's kind of just always kind of there. And Steve, good luck on the expedition there with for the Model 15 and the new ham and your inspection of the HRO. We will be awaiting future comments on what happens today as it evolves. Dave, yeah, make a note on Wednesday. Maybe we could all get together and gang up on net control here. I mean, you, myself, and Chuck, and maybe get Ron to dial in remotely there on upper sideband, but we'll have to see. And Chuck, you haven't mentioned what's for breakfast, but that's okay. Maybe you're doing breakfast this morning, but that's fine also. But 7-3s to you. So with that, we'll see if Bill is still audible and if Bill can still hear me. M6BCT W7MS.
Okay, Bill. N6BCT, WA7 more ABS. Okay, very good on everybody. And thanks, everybody, for your participation in the net. It's appreciated. Chuck will be net control next week. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the net. And we'll say 73 all around. This is the Vintage Military Radio Net. Everybody have a good week. And this is WA7YBS closing the net and signing off. 73 to all.